Hello, everyone. This is going to be a very brief video. It's going to go over the timeline of Boeing. Boeing, the American National Standards Institute, the American National Crediting Board, and the global quality collapse. On September 11, 2001, terrorist attack 9/11 shocked U.S. industries, including aerospace. September 19th, Boeing announces 20 to 30,000 layoffs, begins outsourcing and supplier dependency. April 2002, Boeing issues a NADCAP bulletin. Heat treatment welding critical processes, eliminates redundant inspection, and relies on supplier certification. And they say in that specification, they say, if need be, Boeing will come visit you. Send in your cert, send in your parts, we're good to go. July 2002, Boeing came out with the AS9100 supplier bulletin requiring the suppliers must be AS9100 and they must be accredited to Ansi-Anab, Register Accreditation Body. Don't worry, they've always been Ansi-Anab, but they put all these acronyms to confuse you, the business owner. It was always Ansi-Anab. American National Standards Institute, the American National Crediting Board. Registers must be ANAB accredited or internationally equivalent. Risky international oversight, by the way. They could come in to visit you, ladies and gentlemen, because it was Iran, Pakistan, and China. Remember Iran, who admitted to harboring some of the terrorists of 9/11? Pakistan, who harbored Osama bin Laden. And now what Ansi-Anab did is they founded the IAF, the International Accreditation Forum, incorporated in Delaware. Their sister organization, ILAC, is the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia. They're equivalent. They have both national and international accreditation bodies on those companies. In fact, January 2026, they're trying to eliminate that, bringing those two organizations and calling it GLOBAC, GLOBAC, which is a global accreditation cooperation. But here's the high point and kicker. ANAB is the underwriter for both the IF and ILAC, okay? And on top of that, you have MRA and MLA linkages, which causes them to be equivalent to ANAB. Multi-regional agreements and multilateral agreements causes them to be one unified body. Let's continue on. October 2003, Ansi-Anab issues Heads Up 22, which mandates companies to be on the Online Aerospace Systems Information System, which is run by the IAQG, which controls 65%, Boeing does, of the database and has the influence. Companies refuse paying fees and being listed will get their certificate taken away. 2009, Boeing granted FAA self-certification authority, self-certify their own aircraft technologies, aircraft designs, aircraft technologies like the MCAS system that killed 346 people on the Indonesian Air and also the Ethiopian Air. Also, Boeing employees act as FAA inspectors while paid by Boeing. Conflict of interest, I guess normalized, huh? That means also the CEO of Boeing that the news media isn't telling you about is also the administrator of the FAA. 2014 to 24, Boeing sits on ANAB's a management system accreditation committee that can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. Boeing not certified to AS9100 for 22 years, so they created an illusion for you business owners worldwide. And this just does not affect AS9100. ISO 9001, ISO 1345, and all the derivatives are fraudulent because Boeing perpetrated that. They were the massive OEM, the original equipment manufacturer. Oh, they caused a lot of distress. Your certificate, whether issued today or issued 10 years ago, is not good. 2015 to 21, China chairs the IAF, a communist Chinese national who's been involved with our quality since 1994, a Zhao Jinwu. Global Certification Authority influenced. Veteran-owned and U.S. suppliers unaware of foreign control. All the companies that are certified through Perry Johnson, DV, BVQI, and 60 different registrars, the registrar never told you, ladies and gentlemen, in America, that the IAF, which is founded again by ANSI and ANAB, that they were run by Communist China in 2015 to 21, and he's mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take your data by the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. In 2016, I was invited to join either the IF or ANAB or both, but I refused it because a year prior to that, the IF was handed over to that Communist Chinese national. 2018 and 2019, MCAS failures, Ethiopian Air, Lion Air, 346 people die. Highlight flaws in self-certification and oversight. 2024, June, Boeing VP Elizabeth Lund claims AS9100 compliance, Reuters. Boeing not certified for 22 years, but claims of rigorous audits contradicted by employee interviews. I went out there after listening to this in June. I read it. I went out there on my own dime, ladies and gentlemen. Everett, Renton, Auburn, Northfield. I spent almost a month out there. I said, ladies and gentlemen, I interviewed almost 300 to 600 people. And I said, listen, do you know anything about AS9100? No. You know anything about, do you know anything about auditing? They said, no. October 2024, here it goes right here. Daryl Guberman visits Boeing facilities, Everett, Renton, Auburn, interviews 300 to 600 employees, confirms lack of AS9100 knowledge, evidence of Boeing misrepresenting compliance publicly. Yes. Conclusion. This is the largest industrial certification fraud. Boeing demanded AS9100 from suppliers, but never held it for 22 years. Controlled accreditation bodies while uncertified. On the ANAB, Management System Accreditation Committee, that can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. So ANAB destroyed their own organization. The ANAB accreditation is basically a fraud. Extracted billions from suppliers under false pretenses. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all the data in here. This is the data, and by the way, I'm sorry for it backwards, but this shows right here, we have the 10 years web pages of Ansi-Anab, Management System Accreditation Committee, that can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. We have made some, we've tried to get a hold of them because we need a meeting, because if not, this gets out. We have all the data. We have the truth. It's a $254 billion scam that was perpetrated. It's an illusion. Boeing sat on here giving the supplier, if the supplier got this far, giving the supplier the illusion that they were AS9100 certified. In fact, here's the actual last snapshot of the web page. Please forgive me for it being backwards, but you can see Boeing right here. This was the web page. I took it in 3/18/2024. They took it down because this is embarrassing, because Boeing was not certified. And by the way, they built for 22 years. They took your part that you thought you were AS9100 certified. You're sending your good part into Boeing, and Boeing assembled for 2002 to 24. They assembled aircraft in an uncertified environment, both commercial and military. It comes to 12,000 aircraft that you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, if it was properly heat treated. I've been involved with quality for 40 plus years, and I'm going to say this, simple as possible. If you don't have a proper heat treatment, yeah, it's welded and bonded and riveted and all this other crap. But eventually what goes up must come down. Vibratory stresses, you sit on a plane, it starts vibrating. Eventually, those rivets will give way. If not now, when? And if it's a weak part, there's no way in hell that you're going to have metallurgy that's going to find out that that part failed because of that part failing, unless it's a major component and caused it to fall out of the sky. For 22 years, Boeing assembled your good parts in a uncertified environment. My number is 203-556-1493. The reason why I do this is because ANAB has no clue. They thought nobody was going to catch them in concert with Boeing. Well, guess what? Daryl Guberman caught them. And this is a $254 billion boondoggle, the largest industrial fraud ever perpetrated on you, ladies and gentlemen. Not just the manufacturers, but the people who are flying in these planes. 203-556-1493. I thank you.